How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts.
This is Jonathan Gillum, and this is The Experts on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube. And we got some stuff to talk about tonight, fresh off the set at Newsmax Television. And my good buddy Ulrico's down there asleep right now. But there's a lot of people in the news that just need to shut up and go away. And I don't know. Listen, my job is to analyze stuff. Yes, I do bring my opinion in on some of this stuff at times. Today, listen, this isn't going to be a long show today. I've still got some editing that I have to do for my book that's due. But I'm going to say what everybody else is out there thinking. Some of these people need to shut up. And I'm going to tell you exactly who those people are. Bob Corker is one of those people. This other guy, weirdo, Dan Bilzerian, they need to shut up. Let's get started. many of you are prepared? How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
So, yeah. Tried to do it backwards that time, and still there's a little pause in there where these things have to get linked up. By the way, I still haven't made the phone call to one of the viewers whose son makes these, and we're going to try to get some of these out there here pretty soon. I've never had a coffee cup hold the heat like this thing does for the length of time that it does. It's pretty amazing. So, where to start tonight? Well, first off, I've got to start off by adjusting my camera because it looks like it's a little bit off here. But that's probably Rico banging into it back there as he walks through. He's so old now that he thinks that... So I didn't used to have this studio built in my apartment, and so he always used to, while I'm doing the show, he'd come under the table and then walk outside and then come back in. Well, now he can't do that because this is enclosed. So he always ends up stuck because he's 17. He's stuck underneath the desk, and he ends up hitting the camera. So God bless him. Now, let's get to this whole thing about, let's start with Bob Corker, shall we? Maybe we should go through A, B, and C block, but look, the reality is it's going to be same weirdo, different story tonight. Whether it's Dan Bilzerian and this weird attitude that this guy has, I don't know what, listen, I'm going to go on record here as a former FBI agent and cop. I don't know what police department, and the FBI should really look into this stuff. These different departments. Listen, I love when departments have reserve officers that, like, they take former SEALs and make them into the reserves officers so they can train, so they can be a force multiplier for their people in the towns where they don't have a lot of law enforcement officers. I think that's a great idea. I think we see what happened in Vegas. We saw the reality of what a force multiplier veterans can be. And cities should take advantage of that, but they don't, of course. But whatever police department made this guy a reserve officer, that police department should seriously be looked at. This guy is known for drugs. He's had, I guess, like 3 heart attacks, drug-induced. He is, I mean, he's like this is... Next to the guy that actually was shooting everybody in Vegas, I would think that this guy was probably the second biggest psychopath that was out there. Here's the thing about narcissists and psychopaths. I was on Dr. Drew's radio show today. If you live out in California, I got to be on there. He's a great guy. And I was talking about some of the things that have come out from this Vegas shooting. Let me tell you, one of the biggest things that have come out of this is that I think people are starting to realize that psychopaths can actually live pretty good in public. And, you know, in this case of this guy, he made, not Dan, but the other guy and that did the shooting, you know, this guy was a millionaire and an accountant. And he didn't live a normal life, but he lived a pretty extravagant life. But obviously he's a psychopath / narcissist. I mean, I haven't had the full dossier on this guy to go into it, but I would have to say, based on his actions, that there's some psychopathology there where he has less of a soul and a conscience than most people. But these people can live normal lives. Extreme narcissists, they can live pretty normal lives and be productive. The thing about narcissists, though, I don't know about psychopaths. I have a feeling about psychopaths, but narcissists never fully live up to the image that they created. So I read one article where they said a psychopath could write a book, right? I know how hard it is to write a book. Excuse me, I'm sorry, a narcissist. A narcissist is somebody who could write a book. However, when you open the book up, it's not going to be that great. It's going to be forgettable. A narcissist will set out and say, you know, wants to define their image as a painter, for instance. So they'll go and do paintings and go and have stuff on exhibit, which, I mean, quite frankly, is very difficult. I'm not a painter, but I would imagine it's very difficult to do that. They will do it. In other words, they will go out and achieve that, but the paintings will all be subpar or kind of forgettable. That's the thing about most narcissists, is that they're forgettable if the lies that they build are not surrounding them. So in the case in the case of this guy right here, you know, he is Dan Bilzerian. This guy, I think, is a classic narcissist. Maybe has psychopathic tendencies, but definitely a clinical narcissist. Somebody he paid like I think $1 million or something like that to appear on. I should have answered that phone, by the way. You heard it ring. That was one of those telemarketers. I should have answered that on the. Oh, that would have been funny. So anyway, he is one. He paid like $1 million to have a certain amount of speaking time in the movie Lone Survivor, and he ended up getting cut. So he had this big lawsuit. This guy is somebody who loves the image. He has the beard. He tries to play himself off as like this big, rough and tough guy. I'm a cop. I saw the video where he's telling one of the Las Vegas police officers, showing him his cred, saying, "Give me your gun, give me your gun," and I want to shoot this guy who's shooting at us. What kind of first of all, would you ever expect a cop in that situation to hand over the gun? It'd be if I had creds and I was up there and this was going on, I'd say to the officer, "What can I do to assist you? I'm a reserve officer or a former FBI agent or a SEAL, former SEAL. What do you need me to do? You direct me what you need, and I'll do whatever you got to do. I'm not afraid to be here. Let's get it going." He may say, "Just get back and let me handle this." And I say, "Okay, I'm right here. Whatever you need." You don't go say, "Hey, give me your gun. I'm here. Give me your gun. Here's my creds." They should have turned around and put cuffs on this weirdo. Because how would they know he's not a part of this whole nonsense, right? So, these people, I'll tell you what, these Hollywood types, like this guy, Dan Bilzerian, now he's in a feud with Dakota Meyer, a Medal of Honor recipient. And this guy's going to, see, most people would be too embarrassed or they would have too much pride. It's not something that you're going to win. If you're a normal person and you realize getting in an argument and belittling a Medal of Honor recipient, I don't know Dakota. I have a feeling he's an amazing dude. He's a former Marine and Medal of Honor recipient, and he's a big dude, a hard charger. I don't know him, but let's say he's the biggest jerk in the world, okay? This guy's not going to win this argument between them. Against a Medal of Honor recipient, he's a drug head, fake reserve cop, loser in Hollywood who, does drugs and goes around having heart attacks all the time, evidently. Listen, dude, Dan, if you're watching this, you need to freaking step out, go to some kind of clinic and get your head straight and get off of whatever dope you're on, because not only is your ego so far in the clouds that you would pick a fight with a Medal of Honor recipient and somehow think that you're going to come out on top on this, which you're not, okay? So you're so that blind that you would think that. But also, dude, you're not a badass. Winning poker does not make you a badass. Running away from a mass shooting, saying that you're going to go back to your truck and get your gun because you saw some girl get her effing head blown off, instead of maybe helping that girl who just got shot, putting yourself in the line of fire and helping other people get out of there. No. You were retreating back to your truck like a wimp. Why? Because you're not a man, dude. You are not a man. You are somebody who paid $1 million to play one of us. All right? You are not one of us. And trust me, I'm probably on the lower end of the scale of frogman. I was only in for 5 years. There's guys who've been 20, 30 years in the SEAL teams. I can guarantee you, I don't care if it's guys who, did their tour in buds in 4 years and got out, or somebody who's 30 years, you will never add up. You are just somebody who pays money to play. You couldn't even get the job in Hollywood without paying to act. You paid for the part. It wasn't even based on your acting ability. Dude, go check. I'm going to do you a favor, all right? I'll stop with the insults. Go do yourself a favor, all right? Crawl off of whatever idiot woman that's hugging up to you right now. Crawl off of her and go check yourself into a rehab clinic. And I'm not talking about, someplace where they give you massage. You need to go somewhere where you get the crap kicked out of you so that you wake up and realize the man that you're not. And then maybe then you can revive your whatever this career is that you've bought. But Hollywood is full of these people. full of them. And I mean, let's just take it, not a step down. Let's take a step up the totem pole. All right. This is, I mean, absolutely unbelievably crazy when you look at Weinstein, whatever his name is. I've seen him before. I don't know him. I was doing a protective detail once and watched him sitting there. He looked smug and fat. Not saying there's anything, I'm not saying anything about people's weight, but this guy, dude, no way that this guy could get Ashley Judd. Not that she's anything normal. She's cuckoo herself. There's no way that Weinstein's going to get somebody like Ashley Judd to date him or go out with him or come up to his hotel room if he wasn't some kind of mogul in Hollywood, right? These are the type of guys that if they didn't have their money, if they hadn't gotten their little niche, they would be nobody. But this guy goes out and serial, I'm not going to say rape yet, but serial puts these women in this position. Hey, listen, I want to have lunch with you or breakfast with you next week. Let's say Wednesday, I'll meet you at this hotel. You know, the person shows up thinking they're going to have lunch or breakfast with you in the lobby in the restaurant in there, and they say, oh, no, Mr. Weinstein's waiting for you up in his room. They got it all set up there. And you're like, okay, well, now I'm sure there were willing participants in this, but most likely probably they're like, I mean, he is Harvey Weinstein, and if I don't go up there, he could ruin my career. Of course, if I go up there, I could get a job. So they go up there, and then he, I don't know, does whatever he does. And then they think to themselves, if I walk out of this room right now, my career is over. The way I make a living is gone. I mean, I don't know if you'd call that rape, but it's pretty darn close. I mean, what's the difference? Come up to my room, punching somebody in the face and holding them down while you have their way, or bring them up to your room and then basically let it be known that if you leave, you're going to ruin them. I mean, there's all kinds of stories, folks, of women sleeping their way to the top, okay? I don't think there's that many stories of guys sleeping their way to the top. Quite frankly, I don't know if that ever happens, but there are stories of that. I don't think in this case this is exactly what's happening. This is a guy who wielded extreme power in Hollywood and would put women in, from what I'm looking at, the reports I'm looking at, would put women in circumstances that their careers would be over if they tried to get out of them. So, you know, you got this Dan guy, Bill Zerain, who thinks he's a badass, has the beard, and, you know, he walks around, he got a reserve badge from some police department, should be investigated as far as I'm concerned for giving that to him. You have, you know, he buys his way onto a movie about the SEALs and then I guess creates some kind of image that he's some kind of badass. You got that types, and then you got the serial predators like Harvey Weinstein, and he's a serial predator. He's no different than somebody who goes from family to family trying to get a child, some kind of serial pedophile who befriends people in church or befriends them in school events or whatever and tries to work their way into the family so they can get in and prey upon these innocent children. Harvey Weinstein's no different than that. In fact, I would not be surprised if somebody along the way finds out something about some underage people involved with this. So these people are predators. They're narcissists. They are fake. They can't add up unless they got the money. They're never going to add up to the person that they try to make people believe that they are. They'll never add up to that. So somebody says on here, rape and affairs are very different. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. An affair is a willing participant goes into it. Newt Gingrich, who just brought up, I guess had an affair, right? But there's a big difference than playing tricks to get people into your room and wielding power over them where they have to seriously question walking out of that room, not because they're trying to get apart, but because they know their career will be ended if they leave. That's a big difference, man. That's a big difference than somebody who shows up and says, let's sleep together, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine, or the two people are attracted and they're married and they go out and they do. That's big difference, man. That's huge difference. When somebody is wielding power over another person, I mean, it's definitely coercion for sure. But I would have to say it borderlines something else when the predatory nature figures out a way that these people have. They figure out a way to lure people in, and then maybe it's not physical like Bill Cosby. That's truly rape, okay? But maybe it is psychological, where they just put the pressure on these people, and not just the pressure. They really could ruin these people's careers. I don't know. I think law enforcement needs to look into this type of stuff. I'm sure it happens all the time in Hollywood. I'm sure it happens all the time in the big business world where money's huge. I know a guy who was a big-time model, and he came over from Italy and worked his way into Hollywood, and he left. He left Hollywood because he said there were so many times when he went to go audition for a part, and he was sought after. And literally the directors or the producers would say, listen, if you do some sexual acts for us, we'll give you the part. This is a guy. He wasn't gay. I mean, it's a weird world out there. You got people like Weinstein who wield power like somebody with a sword in Game of Thrones. You got this Dan Bilzerian who goes around building some fake image of a person that he's really not. And it's a strange world. One that I don't know how it got so big. I don't know how it got so powerful. But I'll tell you, American citizens, just like this whole thing with NFL, they need to realize you're being played in all this stuff. These weirdos are getting richer and richer. Your lives aren't changing. In fact, they're making your lives worse because they're all indoctrinated into this subversive, communist, socialist, globalist mindset. And if you don't believe that, look at what people like Weinstein, who's so weird in his noggin, when he gets busted, says he's going to go be tutored. This is what he was saying before he got fired now. He said he wanted to go be tutored on how to act properly. That's something like a psychopath would say, right? Not saying, I need to go repent of my sins and I need to take a serious amount of time off so I can fix whatever problem this is on the inside of me. That's not what he said. There was nothing about fixing a problem. He said that he needed to be tutored in how to act in this day and age. If that ain't some kind of psychopathic remark, I don't know what is. Because psychopaths don't feel the consciousness of doing something wrong. They just know that the law says this is wrong, and if they do it, they're going to get in trouble. They may push the line. They may lose. Look at Bernie Madoff as another perfect example. Somebody who pushes it way past that line because they're not getting caught. But what does he do? Bernie Madoff goes to prison. What does he do there? He does everybody's taxes. And he's like a, worship there in the prison. I don't think they should be allowing him to do that. So this is a problem, right? This is the reality of Hollywood. This is the reality of this ruling class, this rich class that lords over the rest of the country, the ones that support Hillary Clinton, the ones that support all these leftists. You immediately see somebody like Zuckerberg that owns Facebook. He immediately falls into this category because he got rich. And what does he do? He takes a great idea, turns it into a liberal leftist platform and starts censoring conservatives, like's happening again. It goes in a cycle with this freaking show where the numbers on my show were like upwards of 20,000 per show, and then next thing you know, the reach goes down to like 5,000 and the views go down to 1,000. It's like a cycle with them constantly. I don't know if they think that we realize this or not, but I mean, it's not hard to figure out the reality of what's going on here. So why don't we do this? Let's go to the A block just so I can break it up a little bit. And we're going to talk about Bob Corker. We'll transition into politics a little bit before I get off here because I got to do these edits. I got to get out of here quickly tonight. And but I do want to mention something about Bob Corker and about the NFL. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the A block.
How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, Act, available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
So, Bob Corker. He is, see, where is he from? I forget now. Bob Corker is, why isn't it listing what he is here? Hold on one second here, folks. Hold on. He's a senator from Indiana. Okay. So Bob Corker, and he's and I think Bob Corker is a Republican. You know why I don't know this? Because I don't really care. Oh, so he's from Tennessee. I'm sorry. Let me look at his Wikipedia page real quick. He is a United States Senator from Tennessee, and looks like he's been in politics for, let's see, since 2005, probably a lot longer than that. 1994 he started with a Senate campaign. 1994, folks. All right. That's how long this guy's been in and around politics. So he comes out and he says some stuff about the president is, let's see here. He says that Trump's recklessness threatens World War III. And this is what always kills me about these people, okay? He concerns me, Mr. Corker added. He would have to concern anyone who cares about the nation. Okay, so here's the deal. This guy's too stupid to realize that we're in World War III. We've been in World War III for a long time. Islam declared war on the United States in 1979, all right, with Iran declaring war on us. Communism has seeped back into this country, in large part utilizing Islam and the Muslim Brotherhood, building an alliance with them. There is no Cold War. Now it is subversion that's happening in this country. World War III has been happening for a long time. But people like Bob Corker, senator from Tennessee, who's been in politics, I guess, since 1994 in some way, shape, or form, isn't it hard to believe that he doesn't realize what's happening, that we're being subverted, that Islam declared war on us back in 1979? Isn't it hard to believe that somebody who's been in politics and in government for that long doesn't get it? For me, it's hard to believe. I know if I was going to, go back in the SEAL teams, I want to know everything that there is that's happened from the day I got out to now in the tactics and the way they've changed. I'd have to go back and go through all that training, relearn all that stuff, get my health and fitness back up to where it was. That's because I'm a professional. And I learn whatever it's going to take to do the best job. Do it to the best of my ability. Whatever I put my name on, it's going to be the best. People like Bob Corker, Paul Ryan, all these other people, Nancy Pelosi, John McCain, these people have been in and around politics for years and years. And yet he makes a statement that's saying, that President Trump's recklessness threatens World War III. Brother, we've been in World War III, all right? In large part due to your lack of ability to lead, your lack of ability to do your job that you've been hired by the American people to do. You weren't hired to insult the president. Criticism, that's one thing. Listen, I criticize Trump. All right, there's certain things that I don't agree with that he does. But I think he's given it a wholehearted effort, considering the fact that he doesn't have anybody from the Republican Party hardly behind him, that the Democrats are all communists. They're not helping him. And he's being blocked from every turn. And he made the mistake of filling his cabinet with nothing but swamp freaking creatures, right? That's his own doing. But I'll give him that criticism. But this is nonsense. If you're going to criticize somebody, use something real. Don't insult him and call him a reality TV star, that is going to cause World War III. Listen, Bob Corker, I'm going to say this to you right now, man. You are part of a losing team. There is not one person in Congress. I don't care if you just got there. Not one person in Congress should be walking around with their chest out boasting like they got it, all right, because you don't. This country is completely falling apart in large part due to the politics and the backstabbing and the power vacuum that is owned by two companies, the Democratic and Republican Party, that in any other industry would be considered a monopoly and they would be broken up. But that's not going to happen because you all suck off the big teat of the American taxpayer, and you take our money, you live off of it, you walk around arrogantly making comments like this when you, my friend, are a loser. You have built a losing team. I'm not just talking about Republican versus Democrat, Democrat versus Republican. I'm talking about our Congress, the Senate and the House of Representatives. It's destroyed. And you should put your head down and shut your mouth unless you have good, quality, effective solutions for something, which you don't. I don't see Bob Corker coming up with any great strategy on how to fix North Korea. I don't see Bob Corker coming up with anything to fix Iran. In fact, from what I'm understanding, you're one of the reasons why it got passed, the deal with Iran. I don't see Bob Corker fixing the infrastructure, fixing the problem that happened over the past administration with land grab to the point where, guys are going up and men and women are going up and getting in shootouts with law enforcement. Listen, you don't do anything. You should shut your mouth. And the same thing goes with the rest of these people in Washington, D.C. You shut up or put up. And I would much rather just see you leave. We could hire, I wouldn't say college students, we could hire veterans. We could hire people who are E4s in the military and give them strict guidance. This is what needs to be done. And they will come up with solutions on how to fix stuff. But you're not capable of doing that because you're a loudmouth, aristocratic criminal, just like the rest of the people that exist up there. And heaven forbid, everybody keeps telling me, oh, you should run for office. You should run for office someday. People even say you should run for president. Listen, president would be the only thing I ever run for. Why? I don't want to be associated with these people. Man, the pension would be great. The pay would be fantastic. And I'd go up there and piss everybody off. But what could I do up there? And the way I was raised by my mom and by my Lord in the Bible, it says you don't associate with people like this. I don't know, maybe just a couple of people that work in Washington, D.C. that I would ever associate with. It's just a bunch of strange, narcissistic, lost individuals. Louis Gohmert, I've hung out with Louis Gohmert. He's awesome. Great guy. Legitimate person. But this guy, Bob Corker, Lindsey Graham, John McCain, Paul Ryan, that's just the rhinos. You look at Nancy Pelosi and her evil spawn daughter. Nasty individuals. Look at the Clintons. How many people have died around the Clintons? I'm not saying they murdered them. It's just kind of a coincidence. 60 or more people that they know have been murdered. How many people watching this show right now know somebody who's been murdered? Okay, maybe a couple. How many of you know 10, let alone 60? I'm not saying that they did it, but it's a strange coincidence that they know all these people, don't you think? So, yeah, listen, you guys want to get a working group together and see if we can run for president? Listen, we CQRF. We can CQRF ourselves right into the White House. That's what we'll do. And I'll fire. The first thing I would do, well, it's not the first thing. One of the first things I would do, give my inauguration speech, going back to the White House. And the press corps ain't coming along. I don't need a press corps. Press corps can stay outside the gate with the rest of the American people. I don't allow any, if as president, you're not going to allow any Joe or Jane to pay money and fly on Air Force One, or if they pick up the tab to get inside the convoy or whatever. You're not going to allow me to do that to go in the White House, right? Those people, and I know they're part of the press pool. I was having this discussion with Bill Tucker today during break on Newsmax. What is the press corps? Press corps is not in our Constitution. There's nothing in the Constitution that says they have to be a part of the White House. The press corps is made up of private companies that utilize the First Amendment to make money. They manipulate the truth. They lie. They spin stuff, and they are a subversive group that's linked so closely with communism, you can't even, well, they're not. They're just one and the same. It's the propaganda arm of communism. They don't need to be in the White House. What you see doing right here, this is what I would do. I don't need a communications director. I'd probably have a communications director. I don't need somebody to speak for me. I just show up every night about 8 o'clock, more or less, have a little press conference with the American people. I see your chats. I see what you guys are saying. I don't need the press corps. Turn that back into the swimming pool, or better yet, I would turn that room where the press corps is, I would clean out all that crap, and I would turn that into a Secret Service field office. They don't even have a field office in the White House. Secret Service does not have a locker room in the White House. They have a closet. They also don't have parking spaces. They have to drive around looking for parking. Sometimes if it's like here in New York when I was in the FBI, you'd drive around for an hour and a half. You get to work on time, you walk in an hour and a half late because you couldn't find parking. You know, that should not be the case. I would turn that room into a male and female locker room and office space for the Secret Service so they could do stuff in there. It's ridiculous at the way they have that. We're going to give the press corps an entire room and give the Secret Service a closet? Are you kidding me? So, hey, listen, let's do a study. First, I got to get this book out and get these edits done. Or edits done, then get the book out. So, about the book. It's going to be out in paperback. We wanted to do it in hardback, but books sell a lot faster in paperback, and quite frankly, this isn't a novel. This is an instruction manual, and it is coming out in Kindle, and you can order it now in Kindle, and then I'm also going to record the audio this week, the audio book this week. I'm going to sit down either here or at another location and record it, and then we'll knock that out as fast as possible. So you're going to have paperback, you're going to have Kindle, you're going to have audio version of the book, and then if enough people wanted a hardcover, we could do a special edition hardcover. It'd be more expensive for sure. But anyway, you see the book right here, the Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. The foreword's written by Sean Hannity. Marcus Luttrell gives the one of the endorsements up there on top. And just the endorsements alone on the inside are pretty interesting. I put a lot of endorsements in there because I wanted people to see the reality of the people that I get instructed by and look for approval. So, yeah, I better use the thing. No, it's not singer's throat. I have a throat. I get agita when I get here. I get worked up. My good friend gave me this stuff. All right. If I got enough feedback from people where they're wanting hardcovers, I'll do it. I'll do it. But I think it's got to be like 1,000. So, all right. Anybody else got anything? That's my rant session for the day. Bob Corker, you should shut up. Dan Bilzerian, you should shut up, dude, and take a serious chill pill going after a Medal of Honor recipient when you've done nothing to better this country. Nothing. Okay? Shut up. And Harvey Weinstein, you should be in jail. We need new young movie moguls to come up and make good movies like 16 Candles, like Weird Science and Animal House. Those are comedies. What about Legends of the Fall and those types of, what happened to Hollywood? It's all full of crap and people that can't act and the same people over and over again. They're so bad that they're remaking the same movies that were out 10, 15 years ago. They're remaking classics, and they're never that great. How many times are they going to make Spider-Man? Over and over. Listen, we need the opposite needs to happen in media than needs to happen in Hollywood. In Hollywood, they need new young blood up there. People that are creative, that grew up with the technology and can make some amazing movies that aren't so engrossed in communism and leftist behavior. People who come up and make great movies based on great stories, right? That's what we need up there. I'd start going to the movies again. Quite frankly, I haven't been in the movies in a while. And I'm going to be honest with you. He's a weird dude, but Tom Cruise makes, I think, some of the best movies lately. His movie, Mummy got panned. It was actually a pretty good movie. So Hollywood needs to go back to storytelling and stop trying to preach politics to everybody through all their stupid movies. And all these weirdos up there that they can't get over the fact that Hillary Clinton lost and Trump is president. Well, listen, get out and go into politics. But, you know, we're not going to go see movies if you're going to keep up this nonsense, because you're a leftist and you're connected to globalists. You're connected to communists. And the same thing with the NFL. Time and time again, I'm on TV and radio with people, and I was on with a guy who is a former CIA analyst, and then somebody else on Newsmax today, and I posed the question to both of them about the NFL. You know, we're missing the point on the NFL. It's not so much about disrespecting the flag while they're kneeling. They are kneeling for disruption. Not because they're protesting so something can be fixed. They're kneeling to disrupt. Do you realize every week, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, NASCAR, these are the moments when more Americans will stand together for the right reason than any other time around throughout the year. And they're disrupting this. They're disrupting this unity. That's what their purpose is. They're Marxists. Black Lives Matter was founded by Marxists. If you got dark skin and you feel like, you know, something's going on in the inner city, which it is, and there's a problem with people getting shot, which there is, you need to, first of all, sit down, take a deep breath, and look at the facts. Most people getting shot by cops are doing something wrong. Almost 100% of those people are in the process of committing a felony, typically a violent felony. The inner city is out of control with guns illegally purchased, with gang violence, with drugs, kids out of wedlock. Listen, you want to fix that, I'll stand with you. We'll go in there, we'll fix it somehow, some way. But don't do this whole Black Lives Matter thing and think that's going to get it fixed. It's not. They're a bunch of communists. The 3 women that started it were lesbian Marxists, okay? I don't care about their sexuality, but I will tell you this. The whole gay movement, gay pride movement, if you're gay, you need to get away from that. It's fake. It's just used to make you angry and to divide this country. If you have dark skin and you got a problem with the way the inner city is going and people getting shot, I'm with you on that. But the Black Lives Matter group, which is a Marxist group, there's not gonna fix it, okay? You go back to NFL, you look at who first kneeled, a Marxist, Colin Kaepernick. His girlfriend's a Muslim. He converted to Islam. He grew up with white parents, and yet he's taking a stance and faking it, making people believe it's for the inner city. It's not. And they're doing it to disrupt the unity that is being felt when people stand in the flyover and the flag and all these things, and people standing together, and they're standing there for the right reason. And they're disrupting that. And they're causing destruction amongst the American people, not to fix anything. People need to realize it's not about the NFL. I mean, it is about the NFL, but ultimately it's about disrupting the unity in this country. I think altogether, listen, the American people are failing. You should be boycotting the NFL. You should not even be going to these games. Don't buy their stuff. Don't listen to their shows. Don't care if somebody walks in that's a football player. You shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, there's that dude. Forget him. Forget about him. They're nothing. They don't serve you. They don't serve your freedom. They play a sport like a kid. That's it. There's so many felons and gangbangers and people in there that have no clue in the reality of why they're kneeling. Don't support it. And people like the Dallas Cowboys owners who went out and led all his guys in a quick kneel, and then they got back up. Let me tell you something, dude. You're not doing any favors to the United States saying that you're America's team. You're not my America's team, okay? I didn't vote for the Dallas Cowboys to be America's team. You ain't no representative of this United States. Especially when you kneel, you are, whether it's for a second or not, and I don't care what you say about now, okay, if anybody kneels during the anthem, they're not going to get to play. Listen, you dug your own grave when you're the owner, took your people out there and you knelt. And that basically were saying that you are in support of these people that are kneeling to support communism. You dug your own grave. Dale Jr., I will not watch Dale Jr. anymore. I mean, if he's running around the track, maybe, but I can't wait for the day Dale Jr. retires, because he's an idiot and he supports a communist movement. Or in his words, by quoting JFK, wrong quote out of context, he supports a revolution. Dale Jr. does. If you watch NASCAR, you need to turn him off. Don't support him. Quit the junior nation because it turned communist. That's a communist nation now, led by a communist supporter. I think I'm done. Got to take this dog for a walk, finish my edits. Thank you all for joining. Make sure if you have not shared this show on Facebook, make sure you share it right now. 130 people watching. You need to share it. On Twitter, make sure you retweet it. You can untweet and retweet again. Do it as many times as you want on Twitter. Get this thing pumping. The numbers have been steady for too long. We got to get the numbers up. Last week they were great. This week they're already starting out low. We can't have that. They got to grow. Also, you can look on Twitter and on Facebook. I did an interview with Polestar, which is the magazine for anyone in the industry of concerts. And I did a interview with them talking about why there should be snipers at these open-air events, counter snipers, law enforcement counter snipers at the open-air events. You may want to check that out. It's pretty good. Turned out pretty good. Good to see that R.J. Reynolds just showed up. I guarantee he's got an MRE in his house somewhere. Bob Reynolds. All right. Let's go to the Truth Zone, and we'll close this shop, and then I'll see you all tomorrow. Let's do it.
How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.
Yeah. Man, Brian Gosher did an amazing job on this music. I can't thank him enough. And make sure, again, you see it scrolling right out there, the GoFundMe page. Two things have happened in this show recently. The numbers have went like this. I don't know if that's Facebook's fault. And the GoFundMe has just stopped. People have not been donating to the GoFundMe page. Like I keep saying, folks, if we don't get money in this GoFundMe page, this show ends, because I can't just dedicate all my time to this and putting all my money into this without having to go back to work and concentrate on deploying or doing whatever I got to do. In order to get this show going to the point where it needs to be, that GoFundMe needs to continue to grow. You see what we're fighting, folks. We're fighting the Bob Corkers. We're fighting the Harvey Weinstein. We're fighting the Dan, whatever his name is, Dan Idiot, Bill Dezane or whatever his name is. That's what we're fighting. Fake people, narcissistic people who don't care about America, psychopaths, where this guy's up there shooting people from a hotel room and killing people on the ground at a concert. You got psychopaths in Washington, D.C. that literally are injuring the national security of this country so bad that there are certain parts of the intel community that will be years and years before they ever recover for some of the things that James Comey, the criminal, did, that Hillary Clinton, the criminal, did, that other people, I'm sure, all in the intel communities, both Republican and Democrat, lies that they tell, bringing people up in front of them saying the Senate Intel Committee is going to go after somebody. Nothing ever happens. Those people don't do anything but put on a grandstanding show. Trey Gowdy, what have you done? What have you done? None of these people ever go after and truly nail the bad people to the wall. Why? Because it's part of who they are. And you never see executives crush executives. You're never going to see these criminals crush other criminals. It takes good, honorable law enforcement officials, agents, cops, and American citizens that stand next to them. That's what it takes. And I'm going to end it with this. while I do believe this guy, this weirdo, Dan Bildazane, or whatever his name is, and the police department that he is a reserve officer should be looked at and investigated, I do think that law enforcement, I have not heard them talk about this, law enforcement should be stepping up to the plate and recognizing the stuff that veterans did in Las Vegas, the reaction that they had, the way they helped, the way they shuffled people back and forth. One thing that was proven in Las Vegas, not this last Sunday, but Sunday before that when the attack happened, is that veterans, there's only 1% of us in this country serve. And I don't care if you went to boot camp and were a pencil pusher or you became a Navy SEAL warfighter. The fact is, you are a trained crisis manager. You are a trained first responder. And America needs to start looking at utilizing our skill set. You proved yourself in Vegas, and I salute every single one of the veterans that did what they needed to do there. I'm Jonathan Gillum. My old buddy Rico, he just woke up. I will see you all tomorrow. Don't forget the GoFundMe page and to order my book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival. This is The Experts. The truth has arrived. How many of you are prepared for an incident like this? Get my new book, Sheep No More, The Art of Awareness and Attack Survival, and I will teach you to think like an attacker so you can truly defend yourself. Don't just react, act. Available for pre-order now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Sheep No More. Get it.